Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our NXT review. And I gotta tell you, brother, I loved NXT tonight. You know, you could tell that we're on the road to NXT TakeOver Phoenix. We have our NXT Championship match, Aleister Black versus Tommaso Ciampa. Of course, that was established last week. This week, we got a sharper focus of what our NXT Women's Championship match is, and it's one that I'm immensely intrigued by. A fun main event for the NXT tag titles between Undisputed Era and Heavy Machinery, and some good matches in between, including Jackson Riker in action. You know, I love me some Forgotten Sons. So what did you think of tonight's episode of NXT?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love tonight's NXT. We had two awesome matches and a fun exhibition sort of squash match. Yeah, and really, that's all we got. Like, there really wasn't, like, we got one Ciampa promo and one Velveteen Dream vignette kind of thing, and no other promotional material whatsoever other than just match graphics for TakeOver Phoenix. It's kind of crazy.
And not only that, dude, I will say, I thought this episode, which I'm not saying it makes it different from other NXT TakeOver episodes, or excuse me, NXT episodes, but I guess because we've been doing live reactions, I've become more keenly aware of it. This episode had great pacing, because before long, I had even said to you on live reactions that it was already like after 8:30, and I feel like it was just like a blink, you know, so it really kept the action moving. I really didn't feel it drag, which I think, of course, as I always used to say with Lucha Underground, you know, it's great when you're an hour program, but yeah, with the way that they do commercials, which is why, honestly, I'm actually rooting for WWE in this case, because I'm hoping that one day, if the network ever gets so big that they could just do Raw and SmackDown on there, I'm just hoping all the commercials are fucking like that. I'd never promote any product again, probably. I think that's like 30% of the problem at least. So good pacing there. Really enjoyed it. And with that said, let's get right into our first segment, Heat of the Night. I got no complaints, brother.
Please.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way, so let us move right into our NXT review. And brother, we may not have had heats of the night, but this NXT opened up like a house of fire, because we got right into the fatal four-way. Io Shirai versus Bianca Belair versus Mia Yim versus Lacey Evans. Winner becomes number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship for TakeOver Phoenix. What did you think of this match, man? Walk us through it.
I mean, it was great. This was a really fun match. I feel like this is one of those matches where it didn't really like have to establish anybody, because the NXT crowd kind of already knew how great everyone in this was, but it did a really good job of highlighting all four of the women. I would argue that the only woman in this that didn't really get a chance to really shine was Mia Yim. And not only did she not really get that chance to shine as far as just like having like a standout moment, but she was also the only female in this match to not hit a finisher as well. Because we didn't get a soul food from her, but we did get the woman's right. And we got I'm going to call it the Psycho Buster to win the match for Bianca. And we got the moonsault from Io. So we got 3 out of the 4 finishers. And those 3 women that hit their finishers were also kind of highlighted more in this match as well, between Io's crazy dropkick prowess, and Lacey dominated most of the match. I would say Lacey was really dominant in this match, and Bianca had a few great spots with the breakup using the hair whip and then the winning pinfall. So really the only one that wasn't really highlighted was, unfortunately, Mia Yim. Now, I think you and I both know how great she is, and I think most of the NXT fans do as well, due to her being in the Mae Young Classic. But it's just one of those situations where she was in this match and she kind of stood out for the wrong reason, in the sense that she didn't stand out, you know?
Right. And brother, if I could just take the reins from you for just a moment, just to kind of emphasize the obvious, Io's so fucking good. Like, here's the thing, dude. I know everybody knows it, so forgive me that I'm belaboring what some would argue is a tired point, but like everything she does in there looks so clean and so good. I think she might have the best drop kicks I've ever seen in my life, because they look devastating and all of them look just picture perfect. You know what I was thinking to myself when I was watching Io compete in this setting? If WWE was really a meritocracy, and if they really wanted to promote women like gangbusters and be like, oh yeah, women are on the same playing field as men, if it was a meritocracy, you give me a well-built Sasha Banks, preferably as a heel. You put Io on the other side. That's a women's main event that WWE could be proud of. in a fucking mirror, because I'm just watching this and I'm like, I want her to work with all the best women that WWE has. I want her to work with Bayley as kind of that bullying heel. I want her to work with Sasha as the spirited babyface. I want her to work with Becky at, I guess in that case you could be either or. Asuka, like, so fucking good. And I keep going back to, like, this has been her dream, to work in WWE and really elevate their women's division. If they let her do what she came to do, she's a one-woman revolution as far as I'm concerned. She's just fantastic. Dude, the Lope Suicida that she did.
Yes.
Dude. And what's so great about how she does moves is, like, she does them so well, but I guess it's also concerned. Like, she makes them look so impactful because you were even like, oh man, did she hit her head? But on the replay, you could see she positioned herself perfectly to make it look like a nasty bump, but it wasn't. It was just like really effective. Like, she just gets it. And again, I know I'm belaboring a very tired and established point, but as a newcomer to EO, relatively, because I haven't watched a lot of her work, it just really crystallizes for me why this woman for the last few years has been hailed as one of the best in the world by a lot of people, yourself included, because she just looks fantastic in there. But I just wanted to kind of take that sidebar on EO. Is there anything else you want to say about this Fatal 4-Way?
No, man, nothing else I wanted to add. This is a really fun match, and man, I really, we already know Bianca's getting her shot, but Mia and Io, I'm really, really hoping that those two women get their chance to shine in 2019, and especially Io, because I know we've got some Mia Yim super fans in chat, and I definitely adore her as well. But Io is someone that I've been a big fan of for a long time, and yeah, she's great.
I guess just to kind of give my thoughts on the rest of the match, because I really wanted to focus on Io. First of all, thank you, Paul. That's the fucking name of Bianca's finisher. He said it's the KOD, which I correctly guessed was the Kiss of Death. I remember now. Okay, thank you, Paul. I'm hoping that sticks going forward. Bianca, actually, I'm going to save Bianca for last because I think I have my most interesting comments on her. Lacey, she's definitely got a degree of athleticism that, honestly, Lacey's in an interesting pocket because when she comes up to the main roster, she might not get nearly the same amount of hate that Bliss does, and if she does, it'll be for a different reason than Bliss. It'll probably be more for the real life woman behind the character. But she does have a sense of athleticism there. That double slingshot Bronco Buster that she did to Mia and Io, that looked pretty good. The slingshot elbow looked good. I still hate the woman's right.
Honestly, dude, I know that people are going to get on me about this because of the way WWE has propped her up and made everyone think that she's this great performer or something. I'm going to just say right now, I think that Lacey Evans is better in the ring than Charlotte.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I honestly would agree with that. Look,
I think she's smoother. I think she's got a wider array of moves. She's got a bigger move set. I think that she's not limited by a gimmick because her fucking Charlotte thinking she's Ric Flair Jr. just because, she's his daughter, but she also is in a completely different set of circumstances and shouldn't be doing fucking knife edge chops. I enjoy Lacey in the ring more than Charlotte. That doesn't necessarily say anything about them as people because, if I had to spend an afternoon with one of them, I would pick neither or the bullet to the head. But if I really had to choose, I don't know, I'd probably pick Charlotte because Lacey's fucking obnoxious and I just don't like her. But as far as talent goes, separating the art from the artist, I do think that Lacey Evans better in the ring than Charlotte.
Yeah, I would even agree with you there. that I'm not a Lacey Evans fan by any means, and you and I, it's kind of been a running joke that we're just foreshadowing for everybody that this woman's going to be a multi-time women's champion. Hell, even recently, I put the number at 5, and you were like, "That seems low," and I kind of came around.
Yeah, you're not giving, or maybe you're giving Vince too much credit.
But yeah,
great.
Her stuff definitely looks good, and the thing is, she's definitely more. I don't think it's the most fleshed out character necessarily. I wish there would be more done with it, but she's definitely going to be more of a character performer. But I could see her being in that middle pocket of people won't glomp on her as much as they have Charlotte with the hero worship, but they won't hate her nearly as much in my mind as they have Alexa Bliss. So she's really kind of again in that pocket. So that's my comments on her. You pretty much said everything there is to say about Mia. For me, I wanted to save Bianca for last. 1, because she won, but 2, because she got more involved in the match at the very end, but I noticed that they isolated her early on. So that was interesting. She could show her stuff, but not nearly to the same extent as I would say like an Io did. I feel like Io was really able to show her stuff in this match. And The most interesting thing, though, Io gets the moonsault. Bianca breaks up the pin with the hair whip, so classic spot, always gets a nice pop out of people. But then she hits the kiss of death on Lacey, and she gets the pin. And we know that Shayna has been very clearly established, especially with a posse that she uses to retain the title at times, as a heel champion. Bianca, up until this point, is a heel, but she pinned a heel to cement contendership, and she's facing a heel champion. So I wonder, is Bianca turning face? Are they going to let the crowd decide who the babyface is and just kind of still write them as heels? How do you think they're going to handle this, man? This is really what I've been wanting to talk to you about, this and something else we got on this show. But yeah, Bianca is number one contender. Like, just your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I will address that in just a second, but I want to address Mr. Karma Face in chat. He asked if Lacey can do a moonsault from anywhere. I don't know about from anywhere, but her moonsault does look better than Charlotte's for sure.
Yeah.
Just kind of adding to my reasoning as far as why I think she's better in the ring than Charlotte. But as far as what you said, John, Bianca being number one contender, I'm pretty happy about it because I've been of the mindset for a couple of years now that I really like Bianca's potential. And I think she has an immense amount of upside. And I want to see her actually reach that potential. I want her to be able to claw at her own ceiling, which she's at maybe like 70% of right now. Like, she still has a long way to go before she reaches what she can be. And I think that this is a perfect situation for her because she gets spotlighted on a takeover. She gets a takeover NXT Women's Championship match. Those always get time, typically 10 plus minutes. And she's going to get that highlight. She's going to get that spotlight. It's probably going to be the longest singles match she's ever had. And it's going to be against Shayna, who we know is great in the ring and can put on a compelling match with just about anyone, right? So I'm excited for her in that way, but I'm also relieved that it's recently, with Shayna having recently won back her title, because that tells me the title's not going anywhere. Plus, it's kind of heel versus heel, and you even kind of mentioned like maybe they'll just let the crowd decide who to cheer for, which also is kind of like, yeah, like they're probably not going to call Shayna up or have Shayna drop the title to Bianca, and it would make more sense to have like a transitional babyface champion than just go straight from one heel to another. But it's like a relief to me. Like I like Bianca, but I feel like putting the title on her would, I don't know about stunt her growth to the degree that a call up would, but it might give her like, it might kind of, you were even saying during our live reactions that she's the hungriest. Well, how are you going to be hungry when you're the champion, right?
Right. No, that's a great point. I will say too, just to kind of retread past TWitWows, I have been wanting this match for a good while now, because remember, ever since Bianca faced Candice and she had that deadlift military press spot, I told you that at that moment, I just imagined her doing that to Shayna and the pop from the crowd being insane. And I've been campaigning for this match ever since. This has been a long time coming for me. I've wanted to see Bianca get in the ring with somebody the caliber of Shayna. Plus, I've wanted Bianca to get a takeover title shot because, again, NXT is a fascinating brand and they're both developmental and they've got so much legitimacy going for them. But if Bianca is really going to establish herself, if she's really going to be tested, throw her in the water. It's pretty, I hate to put it that bluntly, but yeah, like throw her in the deep end of the pool and see if she can swim. And I don't think it gets any deeper than carrying an NXT Women's Championship match at a takeover on your shoulders, given the precedent that division has set for takeover matches. So I am really excited for this on a multitude of levels. And now really what it comes down to is the presentation. Like, how are they going to position these two women? What is going to be just the content of the rivalry? I mean, if it's just the belt, that's simple enough, that's straightforward enough. There are a lot of questions to be answered, but I'm really excited about this move. And again, it does save Io up for a bigger stage, presumably the takeover before Mania, in my mind. So I think that Io is going to have one hell of a 2019. So fun matchup. I think the right woman won, seeing the forest for the trees. And I'm very happy about all this. And I can't wait to see what Bianca and Shayna do together for sure.
Yeah, that's that match. I'm really excited about that match and just like the prospect of Bianca finally being given that kind of opportunity.
Absolutely. So, brother, I feel like we had a really nice discussion about this Fatal 4-Way. What came after this?
The Jackson Riker squash. Or actually, you know what? We'll talk about the Velveteen Dream promo, the Velveteen Dream vignettes first.
Dude, Actually, no. You know what? I always can be a bit long-winded. You go first. What do you think of this?
I mean, really, I'm more curious. I don't even have anything to say about this because I feel like we might have seen it before, but I'm more curious as far as what they're going to do with him going forward because he's not involved in the like Champa Black Gargano triangle anymore. He's not involved in that scene anymore. So I'm like sitting back wondering like what's next for the Dream, you know?
Dude, I'll be honest, since you said that you really didn't have a lot to say. I mean, first of all, I love this. I thought it was a really wonderful touch on this vignette for Dream to kind of brag about the endorsements he's gotten from everybody from Hulk Hogan to Shawn Michaels to John Cena. I thought that was a great touch. And the dude just has such a great grasp of his character. He reminds us that he's only 23 years old, which is just fucking nuts. And I gotta be honest, I find the character so compelling and what he's been doing so enthralling. And I even tweeted this after Takeover War Games too. I'm more interested in a Champa Dream rematch at this point in time at the Takeover before Mania than another Champa Gargano match. Now, that's just one man's opinion. I'm sure a lot of people are still heavily invested in this Gargano Champa rivalry, as am I, given the recent wrinkle, which we'll talk about in just a few moments. But I am just loving everything that Velveteen Dream is doing right now. He is scratching every itch for me. And you want to talk about people that you're really hoping for a prosperous 2019? I am putting all my chips on Velveteen Dream. This kid is fucking special. Like I am just really excited to continue to see his maturation. I love this vignette. He's just got his finger on the pulse. I mean, I could spend the rest of this podcast singing his praises, but I won't. It was just a great vignette, and I'm so stoked for his 2019.
Yeah.
All right.
Now we can get to the Jackson Riker match. He's taking on Mitch Taverna, who, you know what? I'm going to pull up because Wes said that this guy was in NEW. I think it was just Mike Verna in NEW. And so, you know, we're not going to see him on the show on Saturday. He messaged me to let me know that. But yeah, this was Jackson Riker's amazing. He's got one of the most intimidating looks to come through the WWE system in a long time.
Oh, dude. I mean, look, not really much to say here about the match because it was like a very straightforward kind of squash match. But two things I will say about Riker. One, I 1000% agree with you about the look. I think it fits perfectly with the aesthetic of like what the Forgotten Sons are going for. And two, can I just say I'm going to reiterate what I said on live reactions because the more I mull it over, the more I'm actually going to double down on what I said. That fucking slingshot powerbomb, I get such a Diesel vibe from it with his jackknife. Like, it's got such a great snap to it, dude. I fucking love it. Like, if you ever wanted to
I don't know if you knew this or not, but he's actually a former NWA National Heavyweight Champion.
I did not know that. I did not know that. I knew that he used to be Gunner in TNA, and I think he might have won a title there, maybe a tag title. But
he was a television champion once, and he was tag champion with James Storm once.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. But yeah, dude.
But do you know who the current NWA National Heavyweight Champion is?
No, who?
Motherfucking Willie Mack.
Oh, nice. Well, Mac, as we know, is a fucking beast.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, dude, I just think like I love performers that can take like an elementary maneuver like a bear hug or a power bomb or whatever, but just make it look so good as like you kind of imbue it with that believability as a finisher and that little slingshot variant that Riker does with the power bomb. I freaking love it. Now again, I don't know if he'd be able to do it obviously like on a bigger guy like a Keith Lee, but for smaller people, it's just such a great freaking effect. And again, like I said, Diesel vibes. And I just love how he carries himself. I'm a big proponent of the Forgotten Sons. That's probably going to be one of the trademark things about this podcast now is that, you know, I'm standing like a group that may not really do much in NXT, but I think these guys are like diamonds in the rough. I think their best is yet to come. I still hope that they have a prosperous 2019, especially because, and let me say this too, I always talk about how in the business, one person's misfortune could be another person's opportunity. Well, with the Mighty, kind of in a weird place because Nick Miller's been released and they may groom Shane Thorne for singles, or he may not, you know, it may not be long before he follows suit. That does kind of open a void And it's a void that I think the Forgotten Sons could very capably fill if NXT allows them to. So I'm hoping that with the diminishing of the division in terms of quantity, that, you know, they really give the Forgotten Sons a chance to kind of compensate for it in terms of quality. Because I love this unit. I love this trio. I even said to you on live reactions, I would not mind if Riker was in the North American Championship picture. Now that got a major wrinkle as well, which again, I cannot wait to talk about this because I think this is my favorite moment of NXT tonight. We're still a little ways away from that Ciampa promo, but you know, the idea of Riker competing for the North American title and Cutler and Blake competing for the tag titles, I mean, I am still completely in love with that idea. We'll see what 2019 has in store, but yeah, this is a fun squash match, and I really dig this faction, really dig it. So, unless you got anything else you want to say, we can move on.
All right, well, let's move on then. And the only other thing before our main event that we got was the Tommaso Ciampa promo that actually does bleed into the North American Championship discussion that you were just talking about.
Brother, I feel like there's quite a bit to talk about here, but I feel like I've really dominated the last discussion, so I really want you to start with this. What did you think of this promo?
It's Ciampa. Need I say more? Really?
Well, I mean, obviously we know that it was good, but in terms of the content and what he laid out, like, what was your thoughts about it? Now that you've gotten at least a little bit of time to really kind of marinate on it, what did you think?
So if I remember correctly, he was basically saying that he and Gargano had discussions before before they went to the dark side about how they wanted to hold all of the titles in NXT and how they wanted to be champions, have one of them with the world title and one of them with the North American title and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Now Ciampa wants to do it with Gargano now. I don't know, man. And I even brought up they should bring, rope Candice LeRae in and see if she can get the women's title too, and we can just have a fucking dynasty going, right?
I mean, and that's really what I wanted to ask you, dude. Do you think that Ciampa and Gargano, and you know what, let's even indulge you for a second and throw Candice in there. Do you think they can do what we wanted NXT to do with Sanity and all these other groups? Do you think that they can actually get all the gold? Do you think NXT is going to position them for that? You don't think they're going to succeed?
I think this is another example of somebody talking a lot and making promises and building hype that's never going to get paid off.
And okay, so you don't think, Ciampa cut that promo and they may attempt it, but they won't succeed in this endeavor. Okay?
I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop and Gargano to turn on Ciampa. I'm still waiting for that to happen. Like, Gargano isn't okay with Ciampa. He's used Ciampa to win a match, right? And now he is gonna do everything he can. He wants to beat Ciampa. He doesn't want to team up with Ciampa. He wants to beat him. He wants to take the title off of him. That's his whole character arc, damn it.
Wow, you got really fired up about this.
It's because I don't want to see NXT fuck up a storyline that's been so great.
Would it really be a fuck up though if they actually rode this wave and the betrayal would come later? I don't know. I mean, I'm open to dark DIY doing shit. I just went on Johnny's.
I'm not, because Gargano's entire character arc has been, I messed up letting Ciampa win the title, and the only person that's allowed to fix that mistake is me. So for him to lean into it then and helping Ciampa and teaming up with him and shit, that goes completely against everything that he was supposed to stand for.
But I look at it more, I mean, couldn't this potentially be more like when Daniel Bryan briefly joined the Wyatt family? Like, help them now so you can help yourself later? Because Johnny tried to be the valiant babyface and confronting things head on.
See, but it's different because of who it is. Like with Bryan, he was just getting beaten down every single week, and eventually he just gave in, right? And it turned out he didn't really give in. He was just planting a ruse. Whereas with Gargano, it's so personal because it's fucking Ciampa.
But isn't it kind of a similar line, though, when you're psychologically beaten down, when a guy beats you in a street fight where he spit on your wedding ring and threw it in the crowd, and then you're about to win the NXT Championship from him at the following event, and you lose because of, just Ciampa has your fucking number psychologically at this point. I'm just trying to be devil's advocate here and just kind of...
But I just feel like there's such different stories because of how much more personal this is, whereas Bryan's wasn't a personal thing with Bray Wyatt or the Wyatt family. It wasn't personal at all. So him kind of mingling with them wasn't as gross as what Gargano mingling with Ciampa should be to Gargano.
I just look at it as Ciampa's become such a threat now that to inoculate that threat, Johnny just can't be the fired up white meat Johnny wrestling babyface. He's got to be craftier about it.
No, he's got to turn back into that after he beats Ciampa.
We'll agree to disagree for the moment. But I do think what Ciampa is trying to set up here could lead for a fascinating takeover, because he's defending the title against Black, which he only gives like a passing mention to. But if Johnny indulges this and he does decide, like, okay, Ciampa, we'll play ball your way a little bit, and he pursues the North American title, we'll be getting fucking Johnny Gargano versus Ricochet at a takeover. Now, I don't know about you, but I think I might have just creamed my pants. That sounds fucking amazing.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to get that. It's just a matter of whether we get that at TakeOver Phoenix. We don't know who Ricochet's opponent will be, or if we'll get that at TakeOver New York.
I mean, dude, I'm fully putting my money on that being TakeOver Phoenix, because Johnny doesn't have another matchup right now, and neither does Ricochet. And I could even see TakeOver Phoenix ending with Gargano and Ciampa in the ring together, North American title and NXT World title. And then maybe on an episode of NXT TV, they try and go for the tag titles, and maybe that's where they fall short. I mean, hell, honestly,
I could see, because like I could see them challenging for the tag titles, and maybe that's where Gargano turns on.
Because honestly, dude, I could even see if they wanted to do like the big, final act of this story at TakeOver New York. You've got the NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa on one side, NXT North American champion Johnny Gargano on the other side. Maybe it's a winner-take-all situation. I mean, that'd be fucking huge. A guy emerging from that takeover with 2 titles, and I think it'd be perfect for Johnny wrestling.
See, but I don't like that idea either, because then you either have a Seth Rollins 2016 problem where they have to have 2 matches on a takeover and defend both titles, or you randomly decide that the North American Championship was a bad idea and you just, unite the titles and you get a unified title. And I don't like either of those ideas.
I'm not necessarily saying like I'm thrilled by that.
Well, and I'm not saying that what you're saying isn't going to happen. I'm just saying I wouldn't like it if it did.
Right. Because, I mean, I could even see them circumventing the Seth Rollins problem. I think kind of the way that they did it at that Night of Champions. Like, he has like this really amazing fucking North American Championship match, but he loses, so he's back down to 1 title. And then I think the difference, though, being is that I think Johnny could go the distance in 2 straight matches and maybe retain the NXT Championship, maybe in a rematch against Ciampa. I don't know. What I do know is, though, is that I don't think these guys are going to be called up anytime soon. It doesn't be like, and NXT has really positioned them as not only the rivalry of the brand, but 2 of the biggest stars of the brand. And I think NXT is going to milk that for all they can, because you never know if Vince is ever going to change his mind and be like, oh, give me that Ciampa guy, damn it. And so they want to get everything out of it that they can. And yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, I was hooked on every word of this. The idea of Dark DIY holding all the gold, I'm not going to lie, it appeals to me. And hell, your idea of, maybe Candice will want to get in on it, become NXT Women's Champion. Why not? I've wanted to see. Look, if even Undisputed Era isn't going to do it, because I'm shocked that Cole never won the NXT Championship yet. But if no faction is really going to take all the gold, why not just this Dark DIY? I think it'd be pretty fucking cool, and I think Johnny would be able to get the last lap in the end, just in a more crafty way and a more like a longer route, if you will, kind of more of a convoluted, twisting path. But yeah, I love this promo. And really just our spirited discussion about it says that there is a lot riding on TakeOver Phoenix and its reverberations into TakeOver New York. So we'll see what moves they make. But in the meantime, I think Ciampa Daddy knows the move that he wants done, and we'll just have to wait and see if it comes to fruition or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we get into our main event. Heavy Machinery challenging the Undisputed Era for the NXT Tag Team titles. This was a great match. You were just losing your mind about how just smothering the Undisputed Era were in this, so I'm going to let you go first.
I mean, brother, well, like you, not to be curt about it, but like you with the Ciampa promo where you were like, it's Ciampa, is there anything to say? I mean, it's Undisputed Era. These guys are running everything, and specifically in the context of this match, it's O'Reilly and Strong, which I've gone on record on more than one occasion and saying I like these guys more than I ever liked Red Dragon. I mean, I just fucking love how O'Reilly and Strong work together. I love that they're honey badgers. They just do not let up. They will fucking maul you and they will take you down.
They don't give a shit.
No, they don't give a shit. Nice reference, by the way. And they don't care if you're a cruiserweight, a heavyweight, or anything in between. they're going to beat your ass and it's going to be amazing. Like, I love tag teams, and this is why I fell in love with the Revival as hard as I did. I love tag teams that can take the fundamentals and make them so exciting and breathe life into them. One of my favorite spots in this was something that we didn't even overly react to because there was just so much going on. When Strong had, I want to say it was Tucker, in an Indian deathlock, and Kyle actually comes in the ring, gets his arm underneath Roderick's shoulders, and just pulls him back into ally territory in his corner while Tucker's in the Indian deathlock. Like, little shit like that makes the Undisputed Era's tag matches to me so special. And I think they're consistently the best part of NXT TV when they're booked on a match, and they're consistently the best part of an NXT TakeOver card when they're booked on that. These guys, their talent is undeniable, and it's just a shame that main roster writing has been as abysmal as it has been, because in an ideal world, I mean, hell, in an ideal world, if you really wanted to turn the Revival around, and it seems like they are starting to put some effort into them, to be fair, but I wouldn't even mind if they lost, that they ended up becoming baby faces, and then, right as that's clicking, Undisputed Era comes up, Kyle and Roderick win the tag titles, and then we get a program between Undisputed Era and the Revival. Like, I fucking just splooge just thinking about it. These guys and EO and so many talents are ready to have great matches with everybody. And I'm just thankful that we get to have them in NXT, because Undisputed Era bringing a great match out of Heavy Machinery. I mean, Otis continues to look like a star with the Caterpillar spot and just fighting the two guys off. Tucker didn't look bad
and kicking out of everything. Otis was the one that kicked out of everything, and then he ended up getting pinned, but still, he had like 2 or 3 really monumental kickouts before that.
Dude, I'm telling you, they give everything to Otis. I think he was the one that did the handicap match with the Mighty when they had that program and they took Tucker out.
He had the singles match with Ciampa.
Yeah, and now he's the guy that's taking on Undisputed Era single-handedly and kicking out of their best shots until it's one good shot too many with the high-low. So, hell, WWE might even be thinking Heavy Machinery is a short-term project, but we want to make Otis kind of a long-term star, even if it is just in the mid-card or upper mid-card, because they just keep giving him these opportunities. And to be fair to him, I think he keeps rising to them. So yeah, I think this was Heavy Machinery's one of their best outings, night and day from their first NXT Tag Team Championship match against Authors of Pain. And I just fucking love Undisputed Era, man. I keep saying it. They are the coolest faction in wrestling. I think they're the most legitimate faction in wrestling. And I understand that wrestling is like a broad term, but I mean, come on, guys, not to be cynical, but let's call a spade a spade. When you're a monopoly, that means you get like the most media saturation, the most exposure. And these guys get to show such a wide fucking audience what they can do. And newsflash, they're killing it. Like, there's not much else to say. They're fucking killing it. I fucking love them. And they win with the high-low pinning Otis. And now I'm assuming that hopefully they have a rematch with War Raiders, because War Raiders were on the winning side in the second ever War Games. So yeah, man, let's do Undisputed Era versus War Raiders at TakeOver Phoenix. And hell, if Ciampa and Gargano are going to make a run for the titles, maybe that's the time for War Raiders to win. So you have a clearly defined babyface side going against the heel side. Who knows? But any other thoughts you have on this?
I don't think I have anything to add. I'm just excited to see who Undisputed Era faces at TakeOver. I'm hoping War Raiders are able to make it. I just read it in chat from the Chief, and apparently the War Raiders might be injured, but hopefully they have recovered in time for TakeOver Phoenix, because that's the match I want. If we can't have that, though, Chiefin had a great suggestion, Undisputed Era versus Forgotten Sons. I'd be down for either one of those. I prefer War Raiders, but if they are injured, Forgotten Sons is a great substitute.
Dude, I'm freaking loving NXT's tag division. And hell,
it's really interesting because the tag division is great. It's like all the championship pictures are great. The tag division is great. The women's division is great. The world title picture with Ciampa, Black, and Gargano is amazing. And the North American champion's Ricochet, so it doesn't fucking matter who you put him against. It's going to be an amazing match anyway.
Right. And I mean, then you look at 2019 as it relates to the tag division. Hell, I mean, I'm still hoping that Carrillo and Mendoza really thrive as a baby.
Oh, Neto Carrillo. Yeah, that's going to be great too.
Can you imagine those guys against Undisputed Era? I'm telling you, you put these guys in there with anybody. You know what? I was gonna say something, but that said everything. So yeah, Undisputed Era retain the titles to close the show. If you've got nothing else to say, let's get on to our next segment, high spots and low shots. But before we do that, you guys always know what comes at this point of the show. Want to very quickly go through the plugs. Check out the TwitWoW Facebook page. Leave a like on the page if you visit. Follow Ashton on Twitter. His pinned tweet is the TwitWoW schedule. Puts up a TwitWoW schedule for every month. We're just closing out December, so there are a few more things on there, including Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're doing live reactions to an NEW show as requested by Storyteller West. It's a Patreon live reaction. Sunday, of course, is going to be our TwitWoW year-end awards. Probably the biggest commentary we do all year. It's going to be insane. And I've even got a couple of fleshed out honorable mentions this year that I can't wait to go through, and hopefully more before the video arrives. But most immediately, we're going to transition now to my Twitter. Q&A is tomorrow, and it's at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you haven't submitted your questions yet, go to my pinned tweet and submit your questions. If Twitter isn't your thing, you can submit them to the TwitWoW Facebook page. You can comment with your questions on this YouTube video when it's done processing. Or if you're a member of the Discord, that's the easiest thing because we have a Q&A section where you can submit your questions. For non-Patreon donors, you only get up to 3 Q&A questions. If you donate to the Patreon, which I'll get to that in a second, you get up to 5 Q&A questions. I'd say that's a pretty sweet deal. So guys, if you haven't yet, please get them in. Q&A again, that is tomorrow, the 27th. So again, to recap, my pinned tweets to collect Q&A questions. Ashton's pinned tweet is for the TwitWoW schedule month to month. Pretty soon we'll be making the schedule for January, and that's going to be loaded at the beginning with Wrestle Kingdom and everything else on the horizon. But beyond that, guys, I want you also.
Yeah, I do have the first like 5 or 6 days worth of January already on the December schedule because that's covering all the New Japan stuff with our preview predictions on the 3rd, live reactions to Wrestle Kingdom on the 4th, and then also live reactions to New Year Dash on the 5th.
Absolutely. So, guys, beyond that, I want you all to check out the Teespring store. There we have a variety of merch. You know, we have TwitWoW specific merch. I'm a TwitWoW guy. I'm a TwitWoW girl. We also have a shirt with like the TwitWoW intro on the front of it. So if you think that my intro is pretty iconic and you want to wear it for yourself, got a shirt for that. We also have wrestler specific merch. Kevin Owens, because he's a father, damn it. And Braun Strowman, I'm not finished with you. And other merch as well on the Teespring store. So be sure to check that out. And finally, guys, the TwitWoW Patreon. Doing Patreon a little bit differently. We've really made Patreon a democratic experience because now with our fundraising goals, we really break down the live reactions that we're going to do. I'm on the Patreon now. We're currently at 120, but we have an overall goal of 130. And it says if we hit $130, Progress and Monday Night Raw live reactions become an option if our patrons would prefer them for the month. Now, notice the wording there. Like I said, we have made our live reactions more democratic. At the beginning of every month, we put a poll out. I know Ashton kind of organizes a poll and says, hey, guys, what would you like us to live react to? And whatever gets the most votes, that's what we do for the month. For this whole month of December, we have been doing NXT live reactions and SmackDown live reactions. January, it could be a whole new combination. And again, if we get up to 130, Monday Night Raw and Progress will be on the table. I know we've got some people like Javaris that really loved our Progress live reactions. If you want them back in the conversation, $130 is our target goal. And if you're thinking to yourself, that sounds pretty sweet. You know, I hate Monday Night Raw, but I love TwitWoW, so they'd be the perfect thing to get me through those 3 hours. I want to donate and get them to 130. The easiest, most straightforward way to do it is to donate $3 to our Patreon and get access to the TwitWoW Discord, the ultimate fan server. There, you can talk with Ashton and myself as Monday Night Raw is kind of unfolding, SmackDown Live, and if wrestling, for whatever reason, isn't really your thing, even though we are a wrestling podcast, I've also seen talk of like music, video games, Game of Thrones, and everything in between. If you can talk about it, we probably have a tab for it on our Discord. So, yeah, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, being a part of a server like that, that's pretty cool. I'm part of a couple for other things, but I need something a little bit more to sweeten the pot. What else is in there for me? Well, as I like to call it, it's a win-win-win-win, because for every month that you donate to maintain your Discord membership, that money accrues in what I've pretty much called a TwitWoW account. Every Patreon donor has one. And the more you build up your TwitWoW account, the more that you can do with it. The very simple formula that I always give, say you're a Discord member for 10 months, $3 a month, that comes out to $30. You can cash all $30 in at once to have a live reaction to a 3-hour show. Other people let their accounts build up to insane levels, and God help us all when they're finally unleashed, because that's a lot of content control. But that's what you're affording yourself every time you donate to the Patreon, is a little piece of the pie. Ooh, I'd like TWitWoW to do this month, and we'll make it happen for you. So please do think about it. I think it's a great experience for us and for our patrons to keep Team TWitWoW going and to keep the content fresh. So donate to the Patreon if you haven't. We greatly appreciate it. And with all that said, we can finally get to what you're here for, us wrapping our NXT review up with high spots and low shots. You know what? I'm going to say my low shot. I'm going to keep it simple. Heavy Machinery. They've been on an incredible roll. They were really amped up for this NXT tag title matchup. But when push came to shove, the Undisputed Era was just too much. And they are still the NXT tag champions, despite a really outstanding effort by Tucker and Otis, respectively. Heavy Machinery. Got to give them my low shot. Ashton, who's your low shot?
Man, you know what? I kind of brought her up time, so I guess I'm just gonna make my low shot Mia Yim, because she, wasn't involved in the ending to the women's match, but she also didn't really get spotlighted as much. She didn't shine as much as the other three. We all know she's great, but if we're just going by this episode, she didn't have the best night. So I'll just go with Mia.
All right. Well, my high spot's going to be Tommaso Ciampa.
I knew that!
Because, first of all, how could I ever neglect Ciampa Daddy? Second of all, he's in Johnny Gargano's ear. He helped him win the steel cage match. He's got Johnny wrapped around his little finger, and now he's like, hey, Johnny, hey, I got a vision. Me as NXT champion, because you've already had your shot, so wouldn't make sense for you to be a part of that conversation. But hey, you know who's free? The North American champion. Yeah, remember what we used to talk about on the road? You and I running everything, bud, and I'm telling you, you just follow me, and it's all going to happen for us. Now, you won't be me, because I'm NXT champion, but you could be the champion of all of North America. Think about it, Johnny Badass. You know you want it. To which Johnny says, oh, yes, man, I love more than my own wife. What? Nothing. And you do it, Johnny. You do it because you know it's the right fucking thing. So me and my Swanson are in unison when we say that Ciampa Daddy is the definitive high spot tonight. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm not going to top that speech, so I'm just going to take the obvious route, and that is the new number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship, Bianca Belair.
Oh, I'm actually really glad you gave it to her, because I knew with me picking Ciampa, I freed up the option for you to either take her or Undisputed Era.
I mean, obviously, Undisputed Era gets the honorable mention. They kind of get like grouped in with Adam Cole at this point. If they're on the show, they're up there. But Bianca Belair clearly had the biggest night, because the titles are on the line, but I don't think too many people felt like the Undisputed Era were threatened by Heavy Machinery. Heavy Machinery were undefeated for 6 months, but Bianca Belair is undefeated. Like, she hasn't lost at all. Whereas with Heavy Machinery, you got to add that little in 6 months qualifier. So Undisputed Era did their jobs, whereas Bianca exceeded expectation.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I love that pick. And with that said, guys, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best. Woo! Woo, daddy! Wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my co-ordinate commentary action. Guys, be sure to comment on this video when it's done processing. What do you think about Bianca Belair being the new number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship? What do you think about Tommaso Ciampa's plan for world domination? With Johnny Gargano, with them getting all the gold. Ciampa as NXT champion, Johnny Gargano as North American champion, and both of them, Dark DIY, as NXT tag team champions. Do you think that the dream is viable? Do you think that they'll be able to do it? Or are you a pessimist like Ashton here and think that it's a lot of talk, but it's going to amount to nothing? So be sure to give us your thoughts there. Who do you think the next challengers for Undisputed Era are, and when do you think they're going to drop the tag titles? Talk to us. Would love to hear from you. Be sure to like the video. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for NXT reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. Subscribe to your new favorite wrestling podcast if you haven't, and click the bell icon for notifications so you never again miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. and we will see you again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for TWitWoW Q&A. Get your questions in if you haven't. I already broke it all down for you. And it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. Can't wait to see you there. So until then, tune in and peace out.